Hello, I'm doing my 3 key concepts from 3 reads for Module 3. I pulled all 3 of my reads from the Basic Research Methods for Librarians by Conaway and Powell. It was Chapter 5, Chapter 7, and Chapter 9. They had great information, so I used those 3 reads for this. The first one I used was the data collection techniques, and I focused on the questionnaire concept. And you'll see soon I broke it apart in advantages and disadvantages. And for the advantages, I said it encourages frank answers, completed at a leisurely pace for participants, is easily collected quantitative data, there's large amounts of data collected in a short time. And then for disadvantages, I said, people who are passionate about it are more likely to respond, so that often leads to bias, one way or the other. And it's harder for uneducated participants to respond. And I kind of used a internet word, but you have to be prepared for trolls, or trolling responses where they're not actually being serious with the responses. And I feel like these are great points, especially the disadvantages, to be prepped for if I did a questionnaire at my own school, just like with how could younger kids who can't read yet do the questionnaire. I also talked about, for the second chapter, I talked about data gathering techniques. So researchers need to have kind of a cyclical approach to a data gathering / analysis, and you really have to focus on the process over the procedure too. And 2 parts of the process are sampling and data gathering. You need to consider those outside factors as well that could affect the responses, and that's like age, gender, social economy. And then I talked about sampling too, like you want to have a diverse group, you want to consider the study size, depending on what study you do. And this was chapter 9, analysis of the data. So for the statistics, you want to organize, so when you're and this was specifically on statistics, talking about how statistics are organizing this quantitative part of the data, and specifically this chapter focused on applied statistics. There's 4 purposes for statistics. It's indicating the central point of the data, showcasing the broadness of the data, and showing the relationship of certain features of data, as well as indicating if there's any possibility of influence of other factors. So there are some cautions for statistics. Statistic analysis can't do the interpretation, and careful what statistic technique you use, as it needs to be appropriate for the data that you are trying to cover. And then also I went over some steps. They establish categories, they code the data, establish categories, code data, and analyze the data. Now, I think all of this is great stuff if I want to ever do something for my younger kids, some type of data gathering for them, how I can, if I do choose to do a questionnaire, there are some good points of what are good things about the questionnaire, but what are some also things I have to look into, as well as just looking at the sampling, like how many kids should I bring in for my, if I do interviews or do study groups, as well as, when I do have my statistics, what do I look at to help me figure out, the best way to move forward in either with a plan or with a new type of data gathering. All right, thank you guys so much.